for a while in most cases. And so you know this story, but we want you to focus upon it right now, just for a moment, because it's important to everything else that comes about today. So here you are in these magnificent bodies, and you understand your personalities to some extent. And we want you to feel with us, if you can, a little bit, the importance of you here now. We don't just mean in this room. We mean in this body, in this personality, in this time and space. And so it matters that you're here. You came with great intent. So here you are. You came from non-physical. And some of you acknowledge that. You believe that there is something after this life experience, and it's logical that there was something before this life experience. We would like you, before we're finished here today together, to have a clearer understanding of how the non-physical meshes with the physical, and how important the physical is to the non-physical, as the non-physical is important to the physical. We would like you to understand that we really are all one, with the potential of blending more than most physical humans allow because of the thoughts that they are thinking. But you were source energy before you came into this physical body. And of course you will be source energy once you have what you call your death experience. There is no death because you are eternal. But as you take your focus from this body and reemerge back into the non-physical, of course, there is that experience. But what we want you to understand is that even while you are here in this physical body, that the larger part of you, the energy from which you have come and the energy to which you will return, is still present and active with you. Sometimes you refer to that as your soul. Sometimes you refer to that as your guardian angels. Sometimes you call that God. It doesn't matter what the label is, but it is important that you understand the existence of that source energy part of you, because that source energy part of you has a point of attraction too. Just like you get what you think about, well, that source energy part of you gets what you think about too. So in all moments that you are conscious and in this physical body, awake and focused, you are calling a point of attraction to you, but your inner being is also calling a point of attraction to the non-physical part of you. So there are 2 points of attraction, you might say, that it is to your advantage to blend. You sort of get what we're talking about? The non-physical you is focused upon your furthermost evolution. When you know what you don't want and you ask for more, that more is immediately integrated into that non-physical awareness, and that more money, or that more love, or that more appreciation, or that more clarity, that more whatever it is that your life has caused you to ask for, is being lived now by that non-physical part of you. And law of attraction is responding to that new, evolved you. That non-physical you that happened because the physical you had a leading edge experience and asked for more. This is what the evolution of all species is about. So that non-physical you is now standing in this more expanded place, and law of attraction is responding to you in that more expanded place. And the difference between you over here in your physical body and you over here in your non-physical beingness is that in your non-physical beingness, you don't contradict your own desire. You don't put opposing engines on the other end of your train. But in your physical form, when you do that, you cause separation, not between you and what you want. Yeah, but that's not the important part. Between you and the expanded version of you. And that's what causes you to feel negative emotion. When you're thinking a thought in your physical body that harmonizes with the knowing of your inner being, the emotion that you feel is one of love or elation or passion or satisfaction or interest or clarity. But when you're thinking a thought that is opposing what your inner being, source you, knows, then you feel agitation or dis-ease. You feel uneasiness, or you feel overwhelmment, or you feel blame or guilt or anger or fear or some negative emotion. And so every emotion that you feel First of all, is happening in the now, and we want you to know that the now of you in your physical body and the now of you in your non-physical realm is the same now, because your inner being is not thinking about where you used to be or where you're going. Your non-physical being is focused on you right here, right now. This is where the leading edge is. This is where all the power of creation is. There has always been a now, and the now has always been powerful. But what most humans don't know about this now is that this now out here on this leading edge is where all that is non-physical is focused too. Humans have got that so confused in their mind because you tell stories to yourself, flawed premises, like source is already done with creation and source is sitting and waiting for you to catch up. And nothing could be further from the way that it is. You can't explain eternity in that way, with somebody being done with something. No one will ever be done with anything. The non-physical is forward with you. And that's why when life causes you, genius you, out here on the leading edge to want something more, and you launch that rocket of desire, your inner being is all over it, knowing it, holding the light, holding the attention upon it. And law of attraction is responding to that, calling all cooperative components to this new creation of you, calling you too. The question is, are you going? And the answer is in your emotions. If you feel great, the answer is yes, you're going along with your new expansion. But if you feel negative emotion in some way, then you're not going along, not right now. Right now, you've got active in you a thought that isn't letting you go. And that's the whole point of why we're visiting with you and why you've called us forth and what it is that you want to know. You want to understand how to create your own reality, how to be the pure positive energy being that you are.
Hi. This is my first experience as well.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of questions coming here, but just now when you talked about you have to figure out what is wobbling your vibration, like with Esther's knees, you were saying, it could be overwork, this, that, whatever belief it is.
I want to say to you, at the beginning, it was always vibration-based. It always starts out as something that could have been dealt with emotion. But if you don't deal with it with emotion, eventually the momentum will carry it into something that then feels tangible, which then seems like it requires an action response. But it always starts with emotion. Emotional imbalance is at the beginning of it.
Okay. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's practice. My question is, I feel in confusion so often when I feel terrible and I start searching, was it this, was it that? Like, where am I out of alignment? And then, of course, then I start beating up on myself for being out of alignment and being confused and not knowing what I did wrong to get to feel in such a state.
Let us give you something here, and this applies to everything that we've been talking about this and everything that you're feeling. So this is just a very strong statement to begin this conversation. Momentum is the name of the game. It's the momentum that carries it into more and more and more and more and more and more and more. So anything that you catch in the early stages doesn't develop into something bigger that is unwanted. But catching something in the early stages requires sensitivity to the vibration of those early stages. And so many of you are so busy and are not sleeping enough and are not doing that many nice things for yourself and are in a sort of attitude of service. And so you, just by the nature of your action-oriented world, you get yourself depleted, and then it's hard to find a thought that feels better. But we would like you to just be a little nicer to yourselves. Look for a little more rest. Look for a little more something that feels good to you. Even if it's only 5 minutes that you can stop and sip something that is pleasing to you, take the time to do it and breathe with a sort of thankfulness while you're doing it. Think in terms of energy replenishment, first and foremost, and a lot of the things that have been bothering you will begin to subside. There's another piece to this that we want to contemplate with you, and that is, we touched on it briefly just now. If you accept that you're a vibrational first and foremost, well, that's not the easiest concept to wrap your head around. because you've been used to looking at your action world and looking at your physical things and your physical symptoms or your physical whatever. So to begin all of a sudden viewing things vibrationally is not the easiest thing. But if you will try to view things emotionally and just say to yourself, everything has an emotional basis, which means everything has a relational basis, which means my inner being has an opinion about this and I have an opinion about this, and there is a vibrational relationship between those two perspectives, which can either be alignment and exhilaration or can be resistance and discomfort. So if that's the only thing that you take away from a conversation like the one that we've had going on here today, that will satisfy you for the rest of your life. You will never again not know what it is. So you say, is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Well, if you're in a place of resistance where you're not hearing clearly, then you might assume that it is that or that or that or that or that. But the better you feel and the longer you feel better, then the more those moments in time will show you what you need to see. The universe will point right at what it is, what it really is. You'll have an experience that will show you some of it's there, and another experience will say, well, there's more of it's there. Then another experience will say, well, there's some more of it. And after a while, you get clarity. You get clarity about what it is. And once you get clarity about what the subject is that's causing the discord within you, then you can do something about thinking differently about that subject. So it's just little by little, and let it be fun. The statement that we would offer if we were standing in your physical shoes regularly every day is, things are always working out for me. And then if you want to get really clear about it, things are working out for me in exact proportion to my allowance of them working out for me. Things are working out for me as good as I will allow by the current perspectives that I hold about things. Now we're getting a little wordy. Things are always working out for me, and to the degree that I allow them to work out, they work out. Someone said, well, how long? What's the timing? Well, it depends on how long it gets you to feel better more of the time. So